All right, Shalom, Ezra, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashah, Malaki Washai. That is to say, Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God. Yahweh Shai, being named His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right. This brother Kasadi from W5 Jersey, Philly. And as you see in the title of the video, this economy is about to crash, man. Right? This is literally, we live 4:15 on the so-called East Coast. And we looking, all this morning and this past week, in general of what's going on in the earth, right? And we seeing one of the major events that's happening right now is the so-called white man's money or monetary system. This economy is getting ready to collapse, right? We have, if you didn't know, if you haven't been keeping watch, haven't been paying attention, we have the 15th largest bank. Yesterday they took I think they crashed about 60% of their stock value. It dropped 60% yesterday. Today they open up, and before the market even opened, the pre-drop was another 65%. So in 2 days they lost like 125 percent of their stock price, right? And they collapsed to the point where um it's marked the second biggest bank failure in U.S. history. This bank we're speaking of is Silicon Valley Bank, right? I don't have StreamYard right now I don't have that open to be able to share the screen, but you can look this up. Look this up as we speaking. I actually have something pulled up on Twitter. It says U.S. stocks and crypto have now lost over $2 trillion and market cap in under 24 hours. I'm gonna read that again. This is from the Cobasi letter. If you follow me on Twitter and I retweet it, most I willing, you can check it out. But you can look this up on your own. The U.S. stocks and crypto have now lost over $2 trillion in market cap in under 24 hours. I mean, that's a lot of money. America's in debt to China right now about $31 trillion. So losing $2 trillion in 24 hours, that's panic. I mean, that's sign for panic if you ever said it or ever saw it. You understand? It says stock market futures just hit a 2-month low, and Bitcoin is now under $20,000. Meanwhile, a collapse of Silicon Valley has marked the second largest bank failure in U.S. history. So this is as we bringing this out, all hell was breaking loose on the stock market. If I'm not mistaken, I think it closes at 5 p.m. And it'll open back up at 8 a.m. on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. The Dow, just a few minutes ago, about an hour ago actually, at 3:12, the Dow Jones, it has dropped 263 points. And if you have the understanding, I don't want to get too deep as far as the numbers and all of that, but dropping 263 points for the stock market, which is the Dow Jones, is pretty much a market for all of the stock for the most part. You got the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, you got NASDAQ, you got these different platforms that you can trade on. And I mean, these things are dropping 263 points. S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the United States, that's dropped 44 points. NASDAQ, another 164 points. I mean, this is the end. This is the end of this economy. As soon as they come out and they try to, they might try to cut the prices, cut interest rates, so on and so forth. I mean, it's only a matter of time before a lot of these big banks start reporting that, look, they don't got no money. And once they start reporting that, just like 2008 and the stock market collapse, it's going to be all hell breaking loose in the streets. So I'm going to get some precepts on that, because the Most High, he told us these things are going to happen. Right, let's go to 2nd Ezra real quick. The Lord showed us beforehand that all hell was going to break loose in this man's economy. And that, the everyday man, he would think that just because he see food on the shelves, just because he see, the TV still on, the light still on, everything seems like all is well in the earth. That's exactly when all hell is going to break loose in the earth. When man isn't paying attention, when man isn't keeping watch. Right, it's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and I want verse 22. I saw that 20. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 20. it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And we seeing all these things happen together. The Lord is bringing all these different prophecies and bringing them out in the earth in these last days, and we're witnessing it. We're all witnesses to what the Lord has ordained in the scriptures, and that are playing out in these last days. March 10th, 2023, all hell is breaking loose on the stock market. People are pressing the damn panic button, man. You had this man, I forget his name, but I mean, he's one of the top financial investors. He literally is calling for pretty much the government to bail this thing out, like they did in 2008. You had a government bailout. You had the whole housing market. It collapsed, which all the banks, they couldn't pay back the loans to the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, hey, they had to collapse the damn stock market. There was a so-called recession. And I remember those days. I mean, I was young, but I remember those days and how tough it was around that time, right? Around that time, the gas prices was going up. The food prices was crazy. I mean, we're about to witness an even more incredible time to hit the earth very soon. So let's read on. It says, verse 21. I'm gonna jump to verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Because once these banks start declaring bankruptcy and start defaulting on their loans, now you have what? You have these companies not able to be able to purchase the goods they need to put into the houses, the storehouses, the different stores that we go to, the Walmarts, the Krogers, the BJs, the different damn stores that you may shop on a day-to-day basis. You understand? Let's read on. It says, I'll read it again. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Let me go to Ecclesiastes, because we know that's about to happen in the earth. The Lord said these things are going to suddenly, right? Suddenly, meaning overnight, just like that. Just when you thought it was a regular Friday, about to enter to the Shabbat in a few hours. You thought it was a regular time. You know, if you're on the East Coast, it's over here raining. If you're on the West Coast, I think it's about to be some type of flood. It's flood warnings over there, right? In Southern California, it's about to be some snow. They're about to get like 2 to 8 feet of snow. So you may be thinking, okay, this is kind of unusual. I mean, but it is what it is. Life is going to go on. No, this is exactly when all hell can break loose. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and I'm going to go to verse 3. Verse 4, I'm going to get right to it. It says, no, I'm going to get verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Right? So the Lord is talking about a time when there's no longer going to be man working in the factories, man working and slaving at Amazon, UPS, or any of these different warehouses that's out here, man. Where we're not going to be able to freely just get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to work, because that's going to be shut down. It's a time coming when these lights going to be turned out. It's a time coming when there's going to be destruction on the outsides. You hear damn helicopters and different men with damn riot gear, right, and military troops on the ground. Tanks moving and ushering in and breaking through houses. That's very soon. Let's read on. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. The Lord said, what? The doors of, meaning your ability to access different places, and that's going to be closed down. Whether it's you getting on internet, whether you get on YouTube, whether you're literally trying to go to another city and flee out of that city. And guess what? There's going to be different checkpoints and troops on the ground to prevent you from accessing wherever you want to go to. That's what the Lord is saying by these doors going to be shut in the streets. This is Solomon. I mean, I'm sure Solomon would know about the end of the world. I'm going to get a precept real quick. And the Lord told you that Solomon had understanding of the beginning, the midst, and the end of the world. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I want verse, it's like it. Is Wisdom of Solomon? Yeah, come. This Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I want verse 18. I saw the 17. It says, for he had given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made. So Solomon understood how the world was created, the inception, the Genesis. Let's read on. It says, and the elements, it's like in the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of the times. So Solomon is going to break down the ending of the times for us. And we can read about that in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 4. And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. That grinding is those different machinery that's at your jobs. The Lord said that's going to be low. It's going to be minimal. It's going to be stopped. Let's read on. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. Who's the daughters of music? When you read the book of Job, the Lord specifically says that those that's ruling this earth, they're daughters of music. Meaning they're chanting at their own beat. They're moving at their own drum. Right? They're having rejoicing moments and mirth while we're in a damn mourning state. We at the bottom being afflicted. Hey, all praises. Lord willing, this dollar collapse, man. This dollar don't mean nothing. Since 1971, so-called Richard Nixon, if I'm not mistaken, and he had took the US dollar off the gold standard. So since 1971, your dollar meant nothing. Your dollar mean as much as that damn paper money and monopoly. It doesn't mean nothing. It only means what they tell you it means. The whole goal of the US economy or the US dollar is to keep this thing in circulation and keep everyone using it. It's more everyone using it and thinking it has a perceived value. That's what it means. But it doesn't actually have a true value like it used to when it used to be tied to gold. Again, 1971, it was removed from the gold standard. Let's continue on. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 4 or verse 5. It says, actually, I'm gonna rest right there. I'm gonna get another precept. All right, I wanted something in Ecclesiastes or Second Ezra. All right, so we know that. I mean, this is the time we're living in right now. This is the time of all hell breaking loose. This is the time of more famine. This is the time of more pestilence. This is the time of more war. All those things is on the main stage right now. And if you ain't paying attention and keeping watch, well, you gotta check yourself. Lord willing, hey, this is a wake up call. Right? We all need wake up calls. Right? This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse number 20. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the scourges. So all the things that's happening in the earth, man isn't turning their mind back to the Most High. You got to be mindful of the chastisement and destruction and then all hell about to break loose that the Lord is about to bring on the earth. This should be, like I said already, a wake-up call. This should be a sounding of the alarm. This should be a watchman on a porter letting you know the incoming invasion and the incoming destruction is about to come, man. There's not a time to stock up on all the water in your house or get all the food and bring it into your house and have a damn bag ready at the door for all hell breaking loose. I mean, that's not the time for that. It's a time to stock up on that faith. You may not be in your house when all hell breaks loose. You may not have access to that bag or that water or them canned goods that you have stocked up, man. All of that is going to perish. We can't worry about perishable things. You got to worry about spiritual things. Let's read on. It says what? It says, verse 21, behold, victuals, which is food, shall be so good cheap upon earth that they should think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So the Lord said what? Hey, everything is going to go on as it's been going on. And then man is going to, you're not going to pay attention to the growing destruction that's happening upon the earth. The famine that's coming, right? Spiritually and physically, right? The pestilence. You thought that one pestilence was bad. Or they told you that. They put it on a YouTube, they put it on the TV, put it in newspaper, put it all over. You still got certain places you got to still wear a mask. So you thought that pestilence was bad. And guess what? Guess what the Most High really has in store? And even a little bit about that too. It just came out that one of them doctors, I think it was Dr. Fauci or whatever, the main guy who was a catalyst for all of that, it just came out. Another doctor just, Lord willing, I don't think we can share the video, but Lord willing, you can look it up. It just came out about 2 days ago that this man, he actually engineered that. Him and a few other doctors, they teamed up with China and they engineered that other pestilence that came out about 2019. If you have ears to hear. All right, so let's continue on. So the Lord said, when these things are continued on to go on, and the Lord said that's when evil's going to grow upon the earth. And that's what we're seeing right now. So man thinks that everything is cool, everything is peaches and cream, like they say in the world. But guess what? This is exactly the time when it's economy is about to crash. All right, right, and we know too at the same time that this American dollar doesn't really mean nothing. Like I mentioned, right? The real riches, right? Of course, is the wisdom and understanding of the Most High. But even on a physical level, you need gold and you need silver. I mean, that's always been the main currency in the world, in the earth, for generation after generation. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 13. Let's see how our forefathers, how they got down. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 13 and verse 1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and in gold. So to have real wealth is to have what? Gold and silver. Having real wealth is not having blue faces or blue notes, or you got Andrew Jackson in your pocket. I mean, that ain't nothing. Literally, it's not, it don't mean nothing. I encourage you, I strongly advise you to go ahead and look that up, man. Go look at the gold standard. If you didn't know about it, you're going to find out that all them zeros that you may have in your bank account, and we know, I'm speaking to Ezra, we're not like that for the most part. But if you was fortunate enough, the Most High allowed you to have that over here, it don't really mean nothing, because in a blink of an eye, all that's about to collapse. If it meant something, then you would be able to obtain it. But we put our money into this bank, and this bank trades this money around to invest in other things. And when that bank defaults, or meaning they can't pay back with the loans they owe, then all the money that's in the earth is going to just collapse. Everything that's tied to this American dollar. That's why you got these other countries like Russia, China, they have their own currencies. Back in 2011, you had a man named Gaddafi over in Libya. He wanted to create his own currency, and they killed that man. He wanted to have all of Africa united on one currency, back behind gold. And these Americans, they came over and they killed this man. Go and look that up, right? So continuing on, it says, I'm going to read verse 2 again. It says, and Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and in gold, right? Because that cattle, it allowed you, right? If you have food, then that's a real, I mean, that's more valuable than anything else. You understand? So our forefathers, they had cattle. That's a way you show the wealth, right? Having cattle, having flocks, having different food sources, and that's wealth. Even what, that gold and that silver. I'm gonna get another precept, right? I'm gonna go to the book of Genesis. This might say something. Right, that's right, brother. Shalom. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 24, and I want verse 35. Right, Genesis 24:35. It says, and the Lord had blessed my master greatly, and he is become great. He had given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. So that's how you show your wealth, man. That's how our forefathers got down. Having gold, having flocks, having herds, men servants, maid servants, even Abraham having an army. That's real wealth. Because now with that army, you got to be able to give them food. You got to give them wages for their work. I mean, that shows that we wasn't moving around based off a damn US dollar or a damn Roman dollar or whatever system they had. I believe back in the ancient world, you had something known as drachms. And drachms is a portion of gold or silver, but it's still back behind gold and silver, man. All right. So we know that the Most High, he's shutting this thing down. Let's go to Jeremiah real quick. I want Jeremiah, I believe I want 22. So the Lord is shutting this thing down because of all the iniquity that the Most High has brought in the earth. The Lord's about to crash his economy. This Jeremiah 22, and I want verse 13. It says, woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong. And we know America was built of blood. Whose blood? Our blood. The so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. This place was literally built off our blood, or damn sweat and blood and evil. They put it in the movies. The Lord is exposing this man every year. You had a movie, Emancipation, by Will Smith, that recently was just out. Go check that out. All right. So the Most High continues to show and reveal these things in the earth. And guess what? The Most High is about to utterly cripple the so-called white man. I'm going to read it again. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work. It says, that saith, I will build me a wide house and large chambers, and cutteth him out windows, and it's ciseled with cedar, and painted with vermilion. Shall thou reign, because thou closest thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink, and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him. Right? So the Most High is about to utterly destroy this man. Let me get another precept on that. I'm going to go to the book, right? I want Proverbs chapter 10. Right? Because that's what the Most High is about to do. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 10. It's not what I want. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to go to Jeremiah 17. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 17, right, in verse 11. It says, as a partridge sitteth on eggs, and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches, and not by right, shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. So just as the Lord, right, just as a bird, right, laying eggs and not making sure those eggs are brought up and bringing those her children with her, hey, the so-called white man that's getting his riches by evil, by bloodshed, by killing, by robbing the children of Israel and the other nations, it's only going to be left to those that's behind them. And we know that we're going to be the ones that take the riches. Not them dollars, but that real gold that they have stashed in them storehouses, in underground bunkers, in different places that they're hiding the real gold and treasures of the earth. Remember, when we was in Israel, we had all types of gold, right? Solomon literally laid up gold. Literally, there's an account where Solomon, silver was just, it was what it was, that literally, it wasn't really regarded in the kingdom of Solomon. Everything was pretty much overlaid with gold, other rubies and material, right? So where did all of that go? Did it just vanish and disappear? No, the white man has this hidden somewhere. And the Most High in these last days, he's going to reveal it to his servants. And Most High willing, we are part of that. And we're going to be able to get those things back in the earth. The Lord tell you that in Zechariah the 14th chapter. All right? So we know his days are numbered. I'm going to go to Salakia. I'm going to get that in Zechariah. Right? It's the book of Zechariah, Salakia. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and I'm going to go to verse 12. No, I'm going to jump down to Zechariah chapter 14, and I'll start at verse 17, right? Or 14, Salakia. Zechariah 14 and 14. It says, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse and of the mule, of the camel and of the ass, and all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. So the Lord said what? And we're going to literally grab up everything that the heathen had round about us. All that gold and that silver. That's going to come back to us. They didn't just vanish in the earth. They have it. It's hidden. And now, Salaki, I want to see if any update happened. Right? And now we have, again, these different prices of the food going up. The economy about to crash. It all praise to Yahweh Bashem Mashagum like it was shy. Right? Let me get another precept on this. Let's go to the book of James, chapter 5. All right. This is the book of James chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days." So them heaping them riches up. But guess what? The Lord said that they're moth-eaten, meaning everything they have is going to be for a spoil. It's only to their destruction. The more and more they reap in the earth, the more and more it's only right for other for our nation, for us to get the increase at the end. But nevertheless, it's to their demise and their destruction. Reading on, it says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud." And these things are kept by fraud. How these banks even became so wealthy? Most High willing, I have a video, an old classic cold cut video that I want to drop on his YouTube channel, right? It's from the original cold cut channel. I know many of you wasn't around for that, but if you were, then it's a video the brother went in through the spirit. He had this clip of these Edomites pretty much coming out and exposing how this Federal Reserve was even established and how this banking system even came about. So all of that, most I will, is going to be covered, and it's no better time than now to drop that video. So Lord willing, you know, it's my spirit to do so. I'm going to do it. But continuing on, it says, "Which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entering into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." Right, so our cries is reaching into the heavens, man. The Lord is seeing the different things, the atrocities that's happened to his children. And these things are making their way to the Most High. And guess what? The Lord's not going to just sit on them. The Lord hears all the destruction and atrocities, and he's gonna overthrow those that's doing it to his children. Verse 5, "Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and have been wanton. Ye have nurtured your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you. Be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain." So the Lord's about to utterly condemn the earth for all the rape, rob, and murder that's happened in the earth to the children of Israel. These bankers, these bankers are literally backed by the different elites of the earth. This is the real Illuminati. These actual banks, Morgan, J.P. Morgan, Rothschild, Rockefeller. These men go back damn time and time again, right? Brother Ryan said you got, okay, Khan. Hey, brother Khan, right? But I'm gonna drop that video. But yeah, all praise to the Most High, Lord willing. It's to the edification of Yasha. But Most High willing, I'm gonna get a few more precepts. I'm gonna close up. But Most High willing, man, you keeping watch in these last days, man. Stock market, I'm trying to get the latest update. Let me see. Trying to get the latest update. Lord willing, we can see something else before we close up. But again, I encourage y'all to do your research on this gold standard, what this dollar means, what type of inflation we in right now. We're actually in so-called hyperinflation, right? Silicon Valley, that bank, which is the 15th largest U.S. bank, it just closed today. Dow Jones is going down, the S&P 500 going down, the NASDAQ is going down, the economy is going down, Esau is going down, the so-called white man is going down. That's what it all comes down to. Because that's what it's all about. Even Esau, he named his son Eliphaz, which literally means in the Hebrew, my God is gold. My God is fine gold. Read about that in Genesis chapter 36, verse 4. All right? So I'm going to get a couple more precepts. I'm going to go to the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 25, and I want verse 9. Right? 2 Chronicles, chapter 25 and verse 9. And it reads, it says, and Amaziah said to the man of God, but what shall we do for the 100 talents which I have given to the army of Israel? And the man of God answered, Yahweh was able to give thee much more than this. So although we see that the white man, he's ruling, he's at a higher state right now above us. And you may drive by and see their big houses, their nice cars, the Teslas that they own, the Bugattis, so on and so forth. All of that's about to be overthrown, man. All right? All is about to be overthrown. So now was not a time to worry about the things that you can get in the earth, their perishable items, and so on and so forth. And you got to worry about the treasures and the riches that the Most High has laid up for you if you endure to the end. That's what's most important. I mean, that's evident. We see that the white man, everything he owns is about to be overthrown. And we know that everything that we have, if you're selling everything you have right now and giving it to the poor, if you have ears to hear, then guess what? You'll have everything laid up in the kingdom of heaven. All right? I'm going to get another precept. Just the book, right, of St. Matthew, chapter 19. And I'll start at verse 27. St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And it can be tough, right? You first come into the truth. The Lord tell you got to forsake everything. You might have been in college. You might have had a nice, decent job, but you had to work on a Shabbat. And you tell your job you can't work on a Shabbat no more, so you didn't get fired. You may be just coming in the truth right now, and you realizing the struggle and the different birth pains that you may have to go through if you have ears to hear while you in this truth. And guess what? You got to deal with it. Why? Because there's a reward at the end of this thing. You got to endure unto the end. Now, if you want to stay back and you want to look back and gaze and worry about the things that you could have in his life, well, we know what's next for you. It's going to be destruction. There's no other way to say it. It's just going to be death. It's just going to be plagues. You may continue and think that this economy is going to repair itself. It's not. If you're worrying about your stock and you had some things invested in cryptocurrency that just lost $70 billion today, and you think that everything's going to continue on, well, go do that. Go do it. You can get off the live stream and you go check that out. But we know the real servants, they must forsake everything. And like we mentioned already, it can be difficult. It can be damn worrisome. You might not be able to find a job. You might lose your job and go through this affliction and chastisement or even judgment. And you just got to wait on the Lord, man. Right? At the end of the day, it says what? Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahweh said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Meaning what? Now we're not saying, I mean, we don't know who the 12 apostles are, right? Who's going to be the 12 judges in the kingdom? We don't know that. But we do know that if you're part of the elect, and you'll be a prince, and you'll be a governor, right? You'll be a man over 10 cities, man over 100 cities, man over 1,000 cities. But you got to endure to the end. That's your reward at the end of this. You see that everything's about to literally collapse. And the Lord's extending that hand out to you. He's literally giving you that lifeboat to get on the ark if you have ears to hear, so you can flee these times to come. Hey, this is your only shot. You better take it. Leave everything else you have behind you, your family, your friends, all of that. If they ain't serving Yahweh Shem Yashai, they ain't for you. If your job is trying to get you to work on a Shabbat, look, it's not for you. And the Most High is going to provide for you. You just got to trust in Yahweh Shem Yashai. So let's read on. It says, and everyone that have forsaken houses. I'm not speaking of my own. This is what the Lord said. And everyone that have forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. And many that are first shall be last. But many that are first shall be last, and at last shall be first. So what you got to do is, You got to keep all this in mind these last days. Everything you see is just a temporal time, right? We going through a temporal affliction, but guess what? It hasn't matched to the eternal life that you can receive through Yahweh Shem Shai. So this wasn't a long video, right? I didn't want to make this long. I don't have StreamYard. Lord willing, most I willing that'll change very soon. But hey man, continue to keep watch. Oh, one last thing I want to bring out too. Wells Fargo, another bank. Hey, supposedly a lot of people today, they missing deposits. They had their direct deposits is taken away from them. Click on this article. This is from NBCnews.com. Wells Fargo says technical issue causes customers to report missing direct deposits. So if you got your money in Wells Fargo, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. All hell about to break loose. So with that, Lord willing, you keep watch. You staying diligent, staying 10 toes down these last days. Kwame Yasharella, Shalom.